This is Chicken Philosophy, the Meccan Revelations, part 46, in which we will pick up right where Gwydion left off in part 45. If this is your first time on Chicken Philosophy and or the Meccan Revelations series on Chicken Philosophy, then do please feel free to start at episode 1 or pick your favorite thumbnail. That's always fun. You can just look at the thumbnails and see which one. Here's the playlist. All right. Now that they're gone, we can get to it. There's a system. I just have to remember. We'll start. There's no beverage today, so that's off the table. Today, I'm going with Tibetan herbal incense, mon lam incense. Not that one. Yeah, maybe that one. And we have a crow. And yeah, we're going to read some Sufism. That's nice, right? I mean the incense, but the Sufism is usually nice. Ibn Arabi hardly ever gets on my nerves. No, not really ever. And definitely Hafiz doesn't. So let's put our books up, because I don't know. It's a habit I've gotten into. I don't know if it's going to be a permanent thing that I'll do this. And when there's 2 books, I like to point them out. So this is book number 1 on this series, for those who opted to jump in on part 46. Happens. This is poetry by 14th century Persian Sufi poet Hafiz. And that's what we do first. And then after that, we read from the Meccan Revelations, which is an English translation of the Futuhat, written by Ibn al-Arabi. He was born in Spain, settled in Damascus, founded a school, wrote a lot of books. Anyway, so I guess that's it. We'll get started with part 1 of that. All right. I need 10 tiny gods. Is that really the title? Okay. Some gods say, the tiny ones, quote, I am not here in your vibrant, moist lips, that need to beach themselves upon the golden shore of a naked body. End quote. Some gods say, quote, I am not the scared yearning in the unrequited soul. Is that scarred? The scarred yearning in the unrequited soul. I am not the blushing cheek of every star and planet with a capital P. I am not the applauding chef of those precious secretions that can distill the whole mind into a perfect wincing jewel, if only for a moment. Nor do I reside in every pile of sweet, warm dung, born of the earth's gratuity. End quote. Some gods say, the ones we need to hang. Quote, your mouth is not designed to know his with a capital H. Love was not born to consume the luminous realms. End quote. Dear ones, beware of the tiny gods, frightened men create to bring an anesthetic relief to their sad days with a capital D. Well, all right, so he's not saying have a romantic, basically sexual relationship with God. He's saying that the tiny gods who say, hey, don't have that kind of relationship with God should be hanged. I mean, in other poems, he's more directly said the first thing. Anyway, no, good stuff. Good stuff. I agree. Hence the anima animu thing, if you're heterosexual. Otherwise, go ahead and swap out whatever you want to do there with your higher self. It's none of my business. Okay. Now we're going to change up the music. Thank you, Editor Edward. And, hey, speaking of Editor Edward, give us a wave. Now that I know that I'm going to invoke you, I've just decided that for you alone, you who are hearing my voice, you who watched up till this minute of this video, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Editor Edward will have already created, I haven't done it yet because I just decided to do it. There are a lot of unlisted shorts. What does that mean? That means that if you go to Chicken Philosophy, right? Here's the desktop version because that's the one I can easily record. Never mind. Yeah, so if you go there and you look for shorts, sometimes there's like 2 or 1 or 3. Sometimes randomly there's 50, but usually there's not even the option to click on shorts because they're all unlisted, which means they're still there, but you have to have a link to get to them. So if you want to watch the last 2 years plus 2 years and a few months, or however long I've been making shorts on Chicken Philosophy and then making them unlisted. If you want to see the menu and all that, then this is my website. It's called https://edward-reib, as we Americans say, reib, as the Germans would say, and it's a German word. So I should be saying right, but I refuse. Anyway, .com. So that's where you want to go. When you get there, you click this guy. That's what it looks like in 2025. In 2027, it might look slightly different. But, you know how it is. It used to look simpler. There were 4 books, and they were different books. Anyway, I mean, some of them were different. What are we talking about? Yeah. So you click that, and then you get to, then Editor Edward, can you give us some examples and highlights and kind of show us what we can expect when we get there? Okay, so once you click on the chicken and you arrive at the Chicken Philosophy page, what you want to do is scroll down to the bottom where you'll find a pair of Levi shorts. You click that, and you arrive at the Chicken Philosophy shorts. And it's in order by date, starting with the earliest. So you got vintage shorts, the very first short that I didn't delete. This one's kind of fun, where the Tibetans are wondering what this gringo is doing as he's walking down the street reading the Arbatel of Magic. Yeah, so there were a lot in the beginning. January, February, I was doing like little sample things. Some people who know me on, Facebook and whatnot, Instagram, might remember when I was doing those little promo bits where there'd be like a little mini quote. I'll do an example of one. The Stupidity of Others, this one's called. Why do I become so angry at what I perceive to be the stupidity of others? As a legitimate question. And they always have these closings. Yeah, there you go. So that type of short will close with the thumbnail image from the right side of the the thumbnail of the video, and they're all linked to the videos. The ones that are related to a longer chicken philosophy video, which is most of them, will have the link to what episode it is. So if you're sort of like, oh, I kind of want to hear the rest of what Edward or BT or Gwydion is talking about there, then you can just click that link in there. And just for fun, let's do one more example. I won't play the whole thing, but this one here, the Great Seal. There was something that was 65. I think it must have been, Carl Jung part 65. I'm guessing. I don't know. Yeah, probably. And I was talking about all these different things that are related to 65. And as editor Edward, I recorded the audio for this bit, but I didn't include it in the video. I forgot to include it in the video, but I'm kind of glad I didn't, because it's a bit long and kind of goes off in its own direction for a little too long for my personal taste. I like to be able to kind of get back to the thread of whatever I was talking about. But I'll go ahead and play it all the way through for you, just this one. It's called The Great Seal. Reading from The Great Seal of the United States by Paul Foster Case. The section called The Obverse, the other side, in other words, with the eagle and the laurel and the arrows, and so page 14, it starts with the description of the obverse, and then halfway down toward the top of page 16. Reading from there, the sinister wing. So the dexter wing, I don't know if that's right or left. The dexter wing of the eagle has 32 feathers, the number of the paths of wisdom, which summarizes the entire Kabbalistic philosophy, and the number of ordinary. It's longer than I remember. So if you're interested in that, then just go to edwardreeb.com with a hyphen in between, and click the chicken spinning wheel. Scroll down to the bottom and click the shorts. Scroll down to the bottom and click The Great Seal. It's from January 2025. By the way, Chicken Philosophy is 1 year and 5 months and change old. So he said 2 years. It's a little younger than 2 years. But I've been making shorts for apparently 13 months. So there you have it. That's the stuff about the shorts. All right. This has been a collaboration of Edward, the guy who reads books on chicken philosophy, and editor Edward, the guy who edits the videos by Edward, Gwydion, BT, Pymander on chicken philosophy. He also edits all of his other channels. Editor Edward, tell us about your other channels. Certainly, there is, of course, Buddhist Books Podcast. We'll use the back of the Mac as but we'll put that here. Buddhist Books Podcast. It's me in a monk's robe reciting from Buddhist scripture. It's good. There's the Esoteric Nerd Podcast. I don't know what I'm doing. Anyway, that's BT. You know BT, the one with that weird cross necklace thing. That's his channel where he's been doing a podcast for, 8 years. And it's good. There's Gwydion's Astral Coffee House. I'll just put that right there and save myself some trouble. And that's Gwydion's main channel that he's had for, 17 years. But every few years in the past, like every 5 years or so, he'd go nuts and delete everything. So there's nothing actually 17 years old, but there's reposts of some things that are old, and there's Gwydion without a hat, because it was the hatless period in between the red and the blue. Anyway, Gwydion responding or doing a movie reaction to his own videos from 2006, 7, and 8, mostly. And then there's Edward Reeb, put that over there, which is, my main channel. It's my normie channel. It's my, hey, look, I'm a normal human being channel, on which there are mostly the travels. I take periods of time, sometimes a month, sometimes a week, sometimes 3 months, and take video from it and edit it together real nice to music. So they're like music videos of my travels, good stuff. Then there's VH Frater BT, that one's going to have to stay on there, which is again, BT, but it's a different channel. It's when he went through a phase in 2016 and 17, mostly, I think, where he was live streaming his rituals in the morning. And so that's the record of those live streams. There's the Multiverse Cartographer, which I recommend. Not that many people are on there, in which I read selections from the New World Empire, the Interdimensional Coffee House, basically. I think it's good, but it might take a minute to like kind of get into the groove with. And then, of course, there's Sonnet 1, which is me dressed as a Tron character, reading the poems written by a computer program I wrote in GW Basic. This is before AI. This is when programming was cool, back in the 80s. Tron, 80s, GW Basic, DOS-based. Ironic, then, that this is on the back of a Mac since Sonnet 1 was DOS-based. Anyway, so he writes an infinite, almost infinite, if there was such a thing, variety of pseudo-Shakespearean sonnets. Not quite Shakespeare, close, leaning in the direction of Shakespearean sonnets. So that's me reciting them as Sonnet 1, since he has my face, since he's made in my image because of Tron rules of programming.
All right, simple enough. And if they want to see them all in one place?
Of course, how could I forget? Pymander Aquarian is the channel in which you will find all 9 of these channels in one place.
Right, okay. So, Pymander Aquarian is the channel if you want to see a bird's eye view of all of my stuff, assuming that I'm the guy that has all the websites and not just the guy sitting in front of the bookshelf, which is kind of basically a safe assumption on one hand, but let's get to the reading. We saw that Gabriel, well, they're really translating this because in Arabic they say Gabriel. Very distinct character, Gabriel. Gabriel was the archangel that dictated the Quran to the Prophet Muhammad, bless him. Whereas Gabriel, or Gabriel, was much more, I think they include, maybe, I don't know, in Islam. I think if you asked them, did Gabriel talk to Mary? And they were like, yeah, I think so. Yeah, and they had the Prophet Jesus, and yeah, okay. Never mind. I'll just... Gabriel, if you want accuracy, that's the Yemenite Sephardic Hebrew is probably the most. Never mind. I'll just. All right. We saw that Gabriel, or Gabriel, depending on who you ask, became manifest within sense perception as a man, who is known, such as his manifestation in the form of Diha, at another time as a man who is unknown. Did we read this already? I feel like we've read this already. But maybe we haven't. All right. Or maybe he's repeating. Okay, I'll just keep reading and see where this goes. But it has not reached us that he becomes manifest in the world of the unseen among the angels in the form of another angel. So Gabriel does not become manifest among the angels in the world of the unseen in the form of Michael or Seraphiel. Therefore, God reported him as saying, quote, "There is none of us but has a known station." End quote. We have not read this before, and it's interesting. And the way I was taught, let's put up the name Gabriel. So the ye, it means possessive, singular, first person, possessive. So Gebur, as in Gabriel, which is on the right, but if you're looking at the diagram, it's on the left. Never mind. It's on your right, but when you look at a tree of life, it's like you're looking at a person facing you, not like you're looking in the mirror. If you were looking in a mirror, it would look like this. Then, see, the red one is on your right, but normally it's on someone else's right. Does that make sense? So, Gebura, Gavri, my Gebura, my strength, my power, is God. There's no is word. So El, some would say that's different from Yahweh, but, it's within its own context for the past couple thousand years or more. It's El and Yahweh are the same. But like if you go back 3,000 years, maybe they were different. Okay. Anyway, enough about that. So yeah, my power is God, my strength is God is the name, and some would say the station, the destiny, the goal, the role, the job, the identity of the archangel Gabriel. There you go. All right. That's what I'd say. I don't know what Ibn Arabi's saying, but we'll keep reading it. There is none of us but as an unknown station. Quran 37:164. And we saw that human beings possess the power of assuming imaginal forms, so that a person becomes manifest among men in the form of another person, other than his own form. Thus, Zayr becomes manifest in the form of Amr. But the angels do not possess this in the world of the unseen. Yeah, Gabriel can't be Gabriel because he's Gabriel, he or she. Michael is Michael or Michael. Or Michel. Mont Saint-Michel. If you go to France, check out Mont Saint-Michel. All right. What? Yeah. Anyway. Okay. Just as Gabriel becomes manifest in human form, so man becomes manifest in the form of any one of the angels that he wishes. Okay. Go on. Even more marvelous is this. One of the masters from among the lovers on this path called on a shaykh, and the shaykh spoke to him about love. Some of those present saw that the man had entered the room because of the strength of the lover's realization. The words of that shaykh about love made him keep on melting within himself on the sensory level until he was reduced to a puddle of water in front of the shaykh. Some of those present went into the room and asked where the lover had gone, since they had not seen him leave. The shaykh said, quote, "This water is the lover who was before me." End quote. They saw a small amount of water on the mat in front of the shaykh. So look how he returns to the root from which he was created. Would that I knew where those parts went. Reminds me a little bit of when I was in philosophy. So I wasn't really into the idea of going into portal because I overheard one of my teachers say, it's like becoming a headless warrior of God. Think about it. You still have arms and legs, but instead of a head, it's all just infinite divine light. And I was like, okay, I think I'll stay in philosophy for a while. So that Venus and aggression, 4 years. I think 4 years I was in philosophy. Anyway, no, 2 years. It felt like 4 years because I was a teenager. Okay, who was I? What, where, who? Among the masters, the puddle. Yeah, okay. What would that I knew where those parts went? Well, they became water. Silly. Know that in this path, man is given a power whereby he becomes manifest in this plane, in the same way that he becomes manifest in the plane of the next world. Vampire Diaries, season 6 or something? 8? I don't know. Never mind. No, that's just for magical people, witches and travelers and vampires and werewolves, right? I'm sorry. Yes. In the rest of the... He becomes manifest in the plane of the next world, where he becomes manifest in any form he wishes. For this, bracket parentheses, power, and bracket parentheses, lies within the root of the bracket parentheses, human, and bracket parentheses, this worldly form. But not everyone reaches knowledge of this root. It is, bracket parentheses, referred to in, and bracket parentheses, God's words. Quote, bracket parentheses, O man, what deceived thee as to thy generous Lord? And bracket parentheses, sidebar. How is it that, oh man, something about thy generous Lord found its way into bracket parentheses? Just asking. All right, within a quote from the Quran. Like, how does the Quran have pre-existing bracket parentheses that you're quoting? Anyway, sorry, where was I? Oh man, what deceived thee as to thy generous Lord? And bracket parentheses, who created thee and shaped thee and balanced thee? Oh, okay, maybe it's because it's not an exact quote because there was more to that list and they're moving the beginning of what he was saying to later in the list. Okay, fair enough. End quote. I.e., bracket parentheses, he gave you, end bracket parentheses, this outwardly manifest plane. Then he says, quote, and composed thee after whatever form he would, question mark, end quote. Quran 82, 6 through 8. In other words, this shaped and balanced plane is a receptacle for all forms. So God makes it appear in whatever form he wills. Since he has told, well, which is it? Am I going to appear in the form that God wants me to or the form that I want? Because those might be two very different things. Unless you're talking about the greater will or the lesser will or something. All right, Free Willy. What? I don't know. Whatever form, since he has told us that the plane has been given receptivity toward any form. Similar are his words, quote, then we made man arise as another creation. End quote, the Borg, or whatever Elon Musk chip is going to end up in everybody's head. God forbid. Quran 23:13. After completing the shaping of his outwardly manifest form, so he appointed for him another one of the forms which he had the potentiality and composition to receive. Cool. All right. When man comes to know, through divine unveiling, that his root and reality is such that it receives forms, he should take pains to acquire something through which he can reach true knowledge of the situation. Bars. Once he is given opening, in this he can become manifest within the world of the visible with a capital W and a capital V. In any one of its forms that he wishes, and he can be, even a eunuch medicine man guy from somewhere. In any one of its forms that he wishes, and he can become manifest within the world of the unseen and dominion in any one of its forms that he wishes. I forgot we were talking about shape-shifting. All right. It took a while to come around to that. He's still on that same... Or maybe that's just one of the things he's talking about, and he was focusing on that part earlier in an earlier episode about that. Here, the difference between us and bracket parentheses the inhabitants of end bracket parentheses the world of the unseen with a capital W and a capital U is that when man becomes spiritualized and manifest to spiritual beings in the world of the unseen, they recognize that he is a body that has become spiritualized. But when people in the world of the visible see an embodied spirit, they do not know that it is a spirit that has first become embodied. So they do not recognize it as such. This is like what the prophet said when the faithful spirit, with a capital F and a capital S, bracket parentheses, Gabriel, and bracket parentheses, came before him in the form of a man with intensely white clothing and intensely black hair. The narrator, bracket parentheses, of the hadith, and bracket parentheses says, quote, no one among us knew him, bracket parentheses, he came forward, and bracket parentheses, until he sat before the messenger of God, capital M, capital G, and he touched his knees to his knees, and placed his hands upon his thighs, end quote. I didn't hear about this part of the Islamic Bible. Then he mentioned the hadith. What? Then he mentioned the hadith of his questioning the Prophet about submission, faith, and virtue, and about the hour and its signs. When he had disappeared, the Prophet said to his companions, quote, do you know who the man was? End quote. And in another version, quote, bring the man back to me. End quote. He requested, but they could not find him. Then he said, quote, that was Gabriel. He came to teach the people their religion. End quote. Or, that was Gabriel. Never mind. Keep going. All the angels recognize man when he undergoes spiritualization and becomes manifest among them in the form of one of them or in an alien form. I didn't know they had those in the 11th century, 12th century. They probably just meant foreign, but it sounds funny. Visualize alien form. Whose like they have not seen. So they are greater than the common people among humans in this, but they lack the ability to become manifest in their world in the forms of other angels, whereas we, if we possess this station, can become manifest in our world in the form of our own kind. Similar to how, though my name is Edward, I don't have to be a rich guardian. That's what Edward means, ward. You know what I mean? Like our names don't define us. Our DNA doesn't define us. The laws of physics may or may not define us. Do you think at the moment of the Big Bang it was inevitable that every little thing, every little nano particle, down to the very thoughts of the particular fetus that grew up to be you and are watching this right now, that you watching this and having the thoughts you're having were predetermined and inevitable, and you're just kind of along for the ride, like playing on a roller coaster? If so, it's a damn convincing hologram, and my compliments to the no thing that is the truth of the greatest self. Anyway, I'll just keep reading. What? I don't know. Whose form they have not seen, so they are greater than it. Yeah, we read that. Whereas we, if we possess this station, can become manifest in our world in the form of our own kind. So glory be to the all-knowing, the all-wise, the determiner of things, who is powerful over them. There is no God but He, the all-knowing, the all-powerful. Okay, so that seems to me like a nice place to stop. I hope it didn't take me like way longer. No, I don't think so, because Editor Edward with the shorts will make up for the amount of time it took me to move the keyboard and set this up with the microphone. Never mind. Behind the scenes movie magic. Yeah. Okay. I think that's it. I can't think of anything else. So, feel free to check out edwardreeb.com. Click the spinny wheel thing and do what Editor Edward said if you want to watch some shorts. And other than that, Nothing around the room is jogging any memories. Okay. Until next time.